Hey YouTube, it's me, the man who likes to RANT, dropping a brand new VID for you today. And today, I want to talk about the difference between the piece of crap show that was the Madison Square Garden special on the WWE Network versus NXT TakeOver Respect. Now, first a compliment that's going to make me very unpopular. Compliment? No, this is a dang rip. If you paid more money than the average WWE Network subscription, which is an undisclosed amount, $9.99. If you paid more than that, congratulations, you're a fucking idiot. And you probably left that show very disappointed. Hell, I turned off the TV in disgust, and I only paid $10. Vince McMahon has no clue what he's doing with his own company, but in order to understand that, we gotta get to the card. We start off with a tag team match, which was originally supposed to be two singles matches. We talk about Sheamus and Rusev versus Randy Orton and Dolph Ziggler. Because that's exactly what these two feuds needed. Put them together. That'll give me drama. You know what needs to happen? Rusev and Ziggler just needs to swap partners, take them to bed, and they'll both be happy. But since that can't happen, we had to have this damn match. And it ended with Sheamus got kicked in the face and RKO'd, and then Rusev came in and blamed Sheamus for losing the match when he didn't have his partner's back. Then he got kicked in the face, and Sheamus told him to kiss his arse. Well, you know what? Nothing's gonna come of that because two heels aren't gonna fight each other. Whatever. I don't care. I don't care about either of these feuds. I'm bored. But you know what? That actually perfectly sums up the rest of this show. Because you might as well have called it Saturday Night Raw. Because if you watched Raw and SmackDown leading into this show, you already saw 90% of the card, and it played out the exact same way. So on to the next match, which wasn't even a match on the card originally. Stardust versus Neville. Now this was a fantastic match. Probably the best match on the card. Why am I hating on it? Because we've seen it 1,000 damn times before. I don't need to keep seeing I don't need to keep seeing repeats of the same matches over and over again. And since Neville is the best high flyer you have, you might want to take advantage because that style will burn itself out real quick. Also, Vince, another piece of advice for your company, you might want to take advantage of the one man who has a damn finisher. Neville has one move that he hits, that if he hits it, you will stay down for 3 seconds. I can't tell you how refreshing that is in your current product. But big surprise, Neville goes over. He should be higher than Stardust, so as long as people like the Ascension stay out of it, Neville goes over clean, and I have no problem with it. The only thing is the damn repetition. Next match. Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho for the Intercontinental title. Does anybody care? You know the only reason he's here? It's the Garden. It's the Garden, and Jericho has a history. His daddy played goon hockey. But did anyone really expect him to have a chance in this match? No. If you did, congratulations, you're stupid. And we got, 20 minutes of him introducing his buddies, Lance Storm, all the people around ringside? I about fell asleep. In fact, I did fall asleep for a minute. And then the match started, and it was, Chris Jericho, this one goes out to you, buddy. Pay attention to this face. You play at wrestling now. Because you're too damn focused on your band. Oh, Fozzie's great. Tell me, who buys it? I haven't heard anything about any of your albums going platinum, gold. Nobody cares about your music. And yet you keep coming back to WWE because you're searching for relevancy. Take you, your flashy jacket, and your incredibly bad haircut, and go home. Hunt some damn moose. That's what Canadians do, don't they? one word. Let's talk tag team titles. Dudley Boys versus the New Day. Look, it's New York. I understand everybody and their mother-in-law expected the Dudley Boys to go over and get the titles. But there's one thing everybody keeps forgetting about. The squirmy little son of a bitch who's on the outside, named Xavier Woods, who plays trombone just badly good enough to annoy the piss out of you. And guess what? The Dudley Boys once again handed the New Day their butts until Xavier Woods comes in and kicks Bubba Ray Dudley in the head, giving the Dudley Boys a disqualification win, but New Day keeps the titles. Which is exactly how it happened on Raw. Give me something new. You know the problem with tag teams today? It's a crapshoot. Okay, how are we going to decide who wins today? I know. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, damn, I lost. But you know what? It's okay. You can beat me tonight on Raw. I'll just get you Thursday on SmackDown. That's how it's always been. Trade off, trade off, trade off. There's no drama. No drama in it whatsoever. You want to build a rivalry? I'll tell you how to do it. You have one team that goes over either cleanly or by chicanery, and they go over several times in a row. Then, when it looks like that team the other team can't possibly beat the team that's been on this roll, you have a nice dramatic match with a stipulation, like say, a Hell in a Cell where Xavier Woods is locked outside, and the other team goes over clean, and then the rivalry gets refreshed because people are interested. Oh, they finally got it. They climbed the hill. They climbed the mountain. They overcame this giant obstacle and they won. Fantastic. That's what needs to happen instead of this crapshoot trade-off one week to another. That's why your tag team division is in such turmoil. Oh boy. And on it goes, and on it goes. So now we come to the big build-up, the match that was hyped through the whole lead-up. Brock Lesnar versus The Big Show. Now I'll admit, it's always impressive to see Brock Lesnar heft up The Big Show and take him to Suplex City. Yeah, it's not going to look graceful, but you suplex 450 pounds. Tell me how graceful you look when you do it. So, Big Show comes out and chokeslams Brock Lesnar 3 times to start the match. And Brock must have been playing a lot of Super Mario Brothers because he just kept hopping right back up like boing, boing, boing. And the amazing thing is, slight deviation, the next week on Raw, they kept trying to push how close Big Show was to beating Brock. I don't know about you, but in watching that whole match, it never looked like Brock was in any danger at all, and it shouldn't be that way. Big Show is well past his expiration date. I understand he's a good utility player, but you do not expect him to beat the man who is red hot in the company right now. It didn't work that way when Hogan did it. It certainly didn't work that way when Super Cena was on top of the world. It's not going to work that way with the Beast incarnate right now. And then, surprise, surprise, Big Show gets suplexed about 6 times and then dropped on his head for an F5. 1, 2, 3, match over, Brock's win. What really ticked me off was they had a curtain call for the Big Show. Now, ordinarily, that wouldn't bother me if they didn't do it live. You could have done it while the commercial was going on for your stupid action figure. We're going to swap and we're going to put Roman Reigns in special ops, and that's a new thing. That's what his uniform is, but I digress. We could pick advertising executive of parts to no end on my videos, but that's not what you guys are here for. You're here about the wrestling. So, our last match that night. Seth Rollins versus John Cena for the U.S. title in a cage. This was a passable match. Basically, the same problem I have with this match is the same problem I had with Neville and Stardust. We've seen it a million times before, and I don't care how good your performers are, We can only see it so many times before it becomes rancid and old and not worth my time. These two go out and try to do the best they can, but we've seen everything they can do. You need to keep rivalries new, Vince. You have the talent. You just need to find new ways to market them. But that's Vince's show. You know, that's the one he ran. He micromanages everything these days because apparently Raw and SmackDown's ratings are beginning to slip. I know. Big surprise. I don't know how to take it either. So let's go on and talk about a good show, shall we? The NXT brand. NXT TakeOver Respect. My God, what a breath of fresh air this brand has turned out to be. So we start out the night with Finn Balor and Samoa Joe taking on Dawson and Wilder in the semifinal match of the Dusty Rhodes Classic. This was a really good tag team match. If you want to revitalize your tag team division on the main roster, you should be letting matches like this happen. The bad guys cut the good guy off from his partner, keeping him in their corner for a good portion of the match, and Finn Balor got shot blocked in the knee early on in the match, and the amazing thing, he sold that injury for the rest of the night. This is a lost art these days, people. You need to appreciate when effort like that's put into the match, because I guarantee you, if you're a big name who's already got his spot, you ain't going to see it for more than 5 seconds. I know. I've been there. I'm looking at you, Cena. Them merch powers of yours. They kick in and you forget all the pain you're supposed to have. Sorry, it's too easy to pick on John. Everybody does it. Anyway, Joe and Finn go over after Joe hits the muscle buster and Finn Balor hits the coup de grace off the top. They go on, and I'm like, yay, that makes sense because your NXT champ should be strong. Next match. Apollo Cruz versus Tyler Breeze. You know, I had high hopes for Apollo Cruz. When he came in, he's a heck of an athlete. I gotta give it to him. All the skills. And bags and bags and bags of moves. And yet, his criticism, and I can't believe this is a criticism, but trust me, it is. People are saying he is the new Ultimate Warrior. Because his initial finishing move is a gorilla press slam and a standing moonsault. Other than that, this guy is nothing but a meathead powerhouse who has an English accent and might just barely one day have passable mic skills. I don't know. They need to work on that. And Tyler Breeze. Oh boy. You know, when I first started watching NXT, when I got the network, I was very high on your work. And I understand you might be frustrated because you've been there ever since it was called Florida Championship Wrestling before it became NXT. And people have been called up before you. And you might think that you put in a decent amount of work. But lately, you've been phoning your shit in every match. You don't care. You don't try, and you do just enough mugging to remind us that you're supposed to be this new wave Rick Martel. Well, you know what? Rick Martel was twice the athlete that you ever were, my friend, and he never got a title. You've at least been in contention for it. And you're pushing for your world title, and you want Finn Balor. You couldn't shine Finn Balor's boots, you blonde-haired, sissy SOB. I'm tired of you. Get your shit together or get out. I hear TNA's looking for decent people. Lord knows they have plenty of room on their roster. And Dixie Carter's willing to spend money on washed-up wrestlers or wrestlers who never had it. There's your place, son. Oh, boy. Okay. So now we come to the first Divas match of the night. I hate calling that on NXT because... You know why I hate calling that? Because NXT women wrestlers actually give a shit about their performance. And this night proves that the women's revolution in wrestling is alive as long as they're on NXT. The second they go to Raw, nobody cares. They'll just be put on a team and relegated to mediocrity. Like Becky Lynch. A fantastic wrestler, but she's too busy just, yay, Charlotte, yay, Paige, my friends, and I want to see more. I want the last kicker to come out. Do things the right way, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Dana Brooke took on Asuka. I may call her Asuka because there's a U in there, and Regal chooses to completely ignore it, so if I go back and forth, please forgive me. Asuka should be credited for this match because she actually drug Dana Brooke to a halfway decent performance. Now, this was refreshing to see because Asuka's not a high flyer. She's not exactly flashy. She'll get your attention, but she's a Japanese wrestler who strikes and chops and does submission holds. Some may say that's very stereotypical. You know, might even try to find people who might have thinking WWE might be a racist. I know, outlandish, right? You'd think they'd try to avoid that after the man they just fired made racist comments 3 years ago. But the statute of limitation never runs out as long as your name's not Vince McMahon. But I digress. Asuka goes out and makes a wonderful first impression. I'm looking forward to seeing what she does in NXT. And what makes me sad about both women's matches that I've seen tonight is I was so impressed by their performance. And initially I'm like, I can't wait to see them on the main roster. And then I'm like, what the hell am I saying? They'll be misused, misled. They will be rendered irrelevant in 5 weeks if they go to Raw and SmackDown. That's the fate of women today. Because Vince doesn't care. He may say he does, but he doesn't care. So then we move on to Chad Gable and Jason Jordan versus Rhino and Baron Corbin. Gable and Jordan are fantastic. Their in-ring work is amazing. They can be the annoying, snarky heels if they need to, but today they also showed that they can be the fiery baby faces when you need to. They have the whole package. They would be an asset to the tag team division on the main roster if it was ran properly. Do you get the theme of this video yet, audience? Because I've been hammering it home. I just want to make sure y'all are still with me. And it was refreshing to see Baron Corbin, NXT's answer to the great talented Goldberg. Sorry, I threw up having to say that Goldberg was talented because I knew it was a blatant lie. But it was refreshing to see Corbin work for more than 5 minutes. He and Rhino have a chemistry. We're going to go action, we're going to smash your teeth in, and then we'll get the 1, 2, 3. That works. That works for a tag team. And they managed to go over because Rhino and Corbin are the established stars. And it honestly did make a better finals match to pit them versus Valor and Joe in the finals for the Dusty Rhodes Classic. I'm good. They made good decisions all night long in their booking. So might as well go from there to the finals. Valor and Joe versus Corbin and Rhino. This was a good match. They made their NXT champion look like a warrior because he fought through the knee injury for the whole match, and then Joe came in and did cleanup until it was time to hit the Muscle Buster and coup de grace finisher for the 1, 2, 3. And then Cody Rhodes and Dustin Rhodes were there. Cody was actually playing Cody, not Stardust that night. And he came out and said that tonight his dad was honored and that everyone in the arena could consider themselves members of the Rhodes family. This was a nice moment. It was good. Unfortunately, it lasted just a little too long and got me a little sickeningly sweet in the pit of my stomach. I'm like, yeah, end anytime. Thank you. So now we come to the main event. Sasha Banks versus Bayley in a 30-minute Iron Woman title match. I think Triple H decided to keep it Iron Man just because that's the tradition. I'm like, okay, whatever. Those girls went out and performed their butts off for the full 30 minutes. And there was never any real big leads. There was drama the whole match. Anytime somebody made a mistake, yes, they got pinned. But they never got so far ahead that you're like, oh, I can't buy a fiery babyface comeback. The involvement of superfan Izzy was amazing. It really made Sasha go over as a heel when she took the headband and then took off with it. And then you could see the emotional scarring in Izzy's face. That is what a heel is supposed to do. It's supposed to create a negative reaction from the crowd. It was perfect. It was amazing. Bayley's come a long way in her presentation too, because when I first saw her, she's the, oh, I'm the fiery babyface, and if I win, yay, that's fantastic. If I lose, I'll get him next time. I'll try harder, and that works for a while. But we have to realize, ladies and gentlemen, that the time of the Norman Rockwell, as American as apple pie, and the $1 Million Smile, those times are gone. If you want a character to be successful in WWE these days, they have to be a little edgy. They have to have an aggressiveness to them. Baby faces can fight aggressive against heels, and people will cheer because the fans are into this. The fans are into the story. The fans are into the story, and the women have shown that they aren't just tits and ass. They can actually work. They can be just as good as the men. In fact, in a creative environment, they flourish. And Triple H understands how to get the most out of his characters. Why does NXT do so much better than Raw? The pacing is better. The characters are in believable stories. I want to see what happens because there is drama every match. That is why it hurts me so bad to hear that Vince McMahon has halted the transfer of power from himself to Triple H because Raw and SmackDown's ratings are suffering. Vince, have you ever heard that expression? It starts at the top. You're responsible for your company. It's your fault your flagship show's ratings are faltering, and since you have data on the network, I'm willing to bet that every Wednesday night you should see that NXT is your top-rated shows. You know why you're actually afraid to let your son-in-law have the power? Because you know, deep down in that balding head of yours, that Triple H is going to do a better job than you ever could. And people want to see it. I want to see it. That's why I did this comparison, to show how much better Triple H is doing with his brand than you are doing with your established brand. Your status quo does not work anymore. And you had the same problem back in '97 when WCW was handing you your butt, except then you were smart enough to look at your talent and say, guys, I have no idea what the wrestling public wants, so you're going to have to go out there and you're going to have to make them love you. That needs to happen again. You need to step back, you need to sit at home, let the younger generation who understands younger people work, and you will see your ratings improve. That's what I have to say. Ranter's going to get off his soapbox now. You guys in YouTube have a good night. If you like what you heard, rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.